Hello everyone, my name is Cetus and welcome to Crusader Kings 3, a new Paradox game that I'm very excited to make some videos for. You can start this game in one of two eras. We can start in 1066, which is for reference point when William the Bastard invaded and England took over and became William the Conqueror and kind of created the current line of rulers. And then we have 867, which is kind of interesting because this is during the Norse invasions of England, or I guess Britain in general, because they kind of went to Ireland, Scotland, and England in various ways. And this is the one I'm kind of curious to begin as, because if anyone's read the Bernard Cornwell book, I think the first one is The Last Kingdom. They take place in this series, and I really like that series of books. So I'm curious about this. We are going to select any ruler because I don't want to do one of the ones it suggests on the main thing. And you can really select anyone. So you could select the King of France and be King Charles II. You could zoom in and find a Duke, Duke Bonnet II, or you could go further down and find yourself a Count. And you can kind of do that for anyone. I played a little bit of a practice one in the Byzantine Empire as a Count, which was fun. And I also dabbled with Wessex very briefly, and then I very briefly checked out the Isles to see what the Norse were like, because for this video I want to play as the Jorvik, because I believe, and I haven't looked this up to check, but I believe that this is the region that, well, I don't think those books took place in because they were mostly in Wessex for the book, but this is, I believe, the starting place of the books. We are going to turn on Iron Man, you know, partly to make sure I can get achievements if I can get them, also to keep me honest, because this game, I think it's funner if you embrace your mistakes, from what I've played of it, but I'm surely tempted sometimes when I mess up to turn around and be like, nope, no, reload. So we'll just save over my Norse one because that was just a very quick test one. Okay, and I think we're going to have a little bit of talking at this point because there's quite a few things going on. And we begin in war, so this is going to be interesting. We are Jarl Halfdan, the white shirt of Jorvik. It's fine, he's got a nickname. Nicknames are something you can earn depending on what you do. Every character has a set of skills. You have diplomacy, which is how much you can make people like you and how good you are, doing diplomacy stuff. Martial, commanding armies, getting troops. Stewardship, taxes, how many holdings you can have, which we'll get into later. Intrigue, doing the shady stuff, basically. And learning your monthly piety, prestige, I think. Oh, reduces cost of prestige. And other characters are more likely to accept your demand to convert. I think it has a few other things it doesn't say right there. Also proudness, which is quite literally your ability to fight. On top of that, you have your traits, which modify them. So we are ambitious, +1 to everything, but we gain stress quicker, which there's a whole, if we minimize this, there's a whole on the left here, stress system. 0 goes up to 300. At 100, you gain a stress level, you get like a mental break, and you can gain some negative traits. So gaining stress is poor for your character. I think they can die if you max it out too. So ambitious, you gain more stress. People don't like you as much, or your liege doesn't like you if you have someone above you because you want his position. Wrathful, negative to diplomacy, plus to martial, minus to intrigue. Natural dread, so dread is how much people fear you. And if they fear you, they're less likely to do something even if they hate you. So fear has its uses. And then to the Norse religion, wrathful is a virtue, which is really interesting. And we'll talk about virtues a bit in a second. We're callous, negative to diplomacy, +2 intrigue, bonus to dread gain, tyranny, dread decay, etc., etc. We're skilled tactician. This is our education trait. Education trait determines a few other things, which we'll talk about in a bit, but bonus to martial stuff, basically. We're good at logistics. Supplies last longer. We are a novice hunter, so we're a better fighter. And we're a Viking, so we're better at everything to do with war, basically. which is really useful. I am actually curious how you get this trait because I noticed when poking around, at least over in the top left, I don't think my kids have. Yeah, my kids don't have it, and I think it's for doing cross the sea raids. So I think it's anyone because I know you can play as the Norse over here and then continue to do raiding, which we'll actually see. We'll see little pockets of the Norse show up all across the coastline. And yeah, that's a quick summary of our leader. We have the Jarldom of Jorvik, which is a duchy title. So we are a king. There's slight variation of names depending on the culture, but they still basically count duke, king, etc. And then we have three earldoms or counties underneath of us, which is the max we can hold. So we have a domain limit of 3 holdings. This is what I was mentioning earlier. You can only directly rule so much stuff. For us right now, it's 3 holdings. So if we take a 4th one, which we will, we'll have to give it to someone else to run. And that's one of the interesting things about this game is you can't run everything yourself. You got to rely on other characters. Right now, we have our son and heir is Jarl Halfdan. That's potentially right. He's stubborn. We're not going to go through all the things of everything. We'll come to him a bit more. Delinquent, generous, tough soldier, Reaver, so he's good at raiding, and he's a legitimized bastard. Interesting. Interesting choices. He is half decent. He's not great though. So if he was to accidentally die, I wouldn't be really upset. Is he the primary heir? What do we see? Line of succession. Henderson, yeah. He gets the top titles. Cool, I guess. Because our other heir, yeah, look at our other heir. Elusive Shadow. He's really good at intrigue, which is a really fun to play someone who's really good at intrigue. He's also a legitimized bastard. I'm seeing a theme here. Uh, the intrigue tree, which actually, let's get into that. So lifestyles. You can choose a lifestyle for your character. If it fits to his education trait, then you get a bonus to gaining experience. So for us, we're going to choose Martial because we get a 30% bonus. You can switch and do little bits of different ones. I've never done that so far in my little time. I don't know if that's ever worth it, but the bonus seems worth sticking in the one. And this is what I meant where the intrigue tree is really fun. Some of the stuff I got into, this was my Byzantine game, really neat. So I hope we get someone who's good at that at some point. But for now, we are Martial, and we have 3 focuses we can choose. They all let you get points or perks throughout any of these trees, but they basically determine your set bonuses. So strategic focus, bonus to Martial, and we gain Martial experience. Authority focus, minor bonus to Martial, bonus to Dreadcrane, and control growth. Control is how well you run things, the provinces under you, or how much control of them you have. Counter of 0 to 100. And then chivalry, better at fighting, you're more attractive to people, and you have an advantage in combat, or your roles in combat. Combat kind of has like it's a little bit more set than in previous games, but there's a random number that gives you like a minor bonus or disadvantage depending on the role, to kind of try and take into account the randomness of battle sometimes and how someone can get lucky. This means our advantage roll can get up higher than normal. We're going to take authority focus though, because our guy is not diplomatic in any way, shape, or form. Pretty much the only thing he's got going for him is fear. So we're gonna focus in on the fear. We'll finish this tree. This tree is like strategic stuff, such as bonuses to troops, basically. We'll grab the bottom one because it will give us the strategic perk, which is a bunch of bonuses. Really what we want with this guy, though, is the Overseer run, which is also going to help with the dread and the controlling and the using fear to get people in line, basically. Okay, that's a lot of talking. What else? We have an unmarried heir. We should fix that. Okay, what do we want? So choosing an heir is always interesting because you have two paths you can take. You can look for inheritable traits, which is great because it gives you bonuses or traits that can be inherited by your kids. For example, quick. You're smart. Bassooned. You're very photo, which is useful since you need to ensure you get kids. Comely. There's actually no, they're pretty. Pretty is the second tier of that, and then beautiful is the third. I think it says handsome if you're on a guy. So like all these traits have multiple tiers too. So it would be nice if we could grab someone with a trait. But you'll notice, or you may have noticed that over here there was another icon when we didn't have this set, and this is alliances, and this is your pretty much your only way to gain alliances with people is marrying into it. So we have a choice. We can either have an alliance with someone, or we can have a inheritable trait. I'm not the best at choosing the best way to go through with these, if we're being entirely honest. I haven't figured out what the best run is. I know I've certainly got in trouble by focusing in on the traits and not getting allies. So I think we're going to try and find an ally. And what I'm doing is I'm highlighting to see where they are. Actually, let's change this around and sort by alliance power. Right, so we get that entire, oh, but no. This is my niece, so we would probably get inbred. So we don't want to marry this person. Also, the three, so we couldn't marry them yet. And our primary heir not having kids for another, what is that going to be, like 16 years, 15 years? It's too long. We want someone not so young. So we're back down to this. County of Leon. Where do we think this is? Oh, interesting. County of Leon is that place. Sure, we will ally you, I guess. You're not going to be super powerful. They only have 348 troops. You know what? None of these alliances are really inspiring me, let's call it. So let's instead go for an inheritable trait. We'll find someone quick. And how good is she? Patient, generous, and just. Just, I believe, is a sin for us, but that's okay. She will do good. 21? Yeah, 21, about the same age. She gains an insane amount of reputation because she's marrying a duke and she is a commoner. And we are going to, oh, our son's going to lose 200 because of this. I still think it's worth it. So we're going to do it. Hopefully that's the right call. Okay, I think that sets up a lot of the basics we need to deal with. Heir in line to inherit titles. That's fine. We can negotiate an alliance with this Jarl. We will definitely do that. Family members can get married. Oh wow, a bunch of our kids need to get married. Okay, we'll have to look at that in a moment. For now, let's deal with our council. So our queen, I think this is cool. Our queen can help us rule. So if she assists rulers, she gives you a little bonus for everything, which is fun. Or you can have a focus in on making one thing really good that you're poor at. So we could have her take over like the diplomacy side of things, which gives us +4 to that. Granted, her best skill is stewardship, which I don't think we need. But that's cool. We have our, oh, wow, the Norse terms are gonna, our Hofgor, I don't have any idea what that O with the symbol above it turns out to mean. But basically our high priest who can fabricate claims, convert countries, or religious relations. We're going to have them convert. Which one's our capital? Okay. Convert our capital to the Norse religion. We have our chancellor who is basically making either internal people or external people like us better. Our steward who can collect extra taxes, improve locations, or promote cultures. And we're going to have him promote cultures here. A marshal who can get more troops can train our man of arms better, which we'll talk about later, or increase control in a place, which we have max everywhere. And then finally, our spy master can disrupt schemes, support schemes, or find secrets. We're going to leave him disrupting scenes. That's fine. And I think we're going to deal with the war, and then we'll give our rest of our kids some attention, some wives, I guess. And I think we have a daughter too, so a husband as well. So we are at war. We have one ally in this war who is, where are you? Probably our, okay, so this group of Norse people. We are at war with Northumbria, Mercia, and Wessex, which is an insane amount of people, but we have an insane amount of troops, so we'll probably be okay. What I'm really curious to find out is 5,000 is a ton of troops for our small area. So I'm curious if we can maintain these armies past this initial war. I also happen to know that the Isles up here are at war with Northumbria, so I'm hoping we can be quick enough to take Northumbria before they do. So we're going to split this army up. Unless we happen to see enemy troops of concerning size go by. And what I'm sending them all to is forts. So these little round things are the forts that you need to take control of the region. Regions have different holdings. This one has 3. In fact, this one has a nice spread. It has your castle. It has your town. So you're a better money maker and all that. And then you have your brain needs to work temple holding. You normally see one of each in a place, though not necessarily, and you can have multiple. So you could have multiple castles in one area. Yo, Halfdan of Jorvik, I accept your marriage proposal. Great, one of our kids is married. Alliance formed, lovely. So hopefully these armies are big enough to take up any of their armies that come along. Maybe not, because one of the things there is quality. Because mostly you have levies, which is just basically farmers with pitchforks. You can make men of arms and you can make knights. So you can see by the 3 dots here, their army is much better than mine. So we're actually going to bring a second army up here, because I have seen quality make a huge difference to fights. Quality and defending, way more than I've seen in other Paradox games. Like, I have seen much smaller armies devastate much bigger armies because of that. To the Lotham, Jarl Halfdan, your marshal has dared to lead my daughter, High Chiefess Valera, into carnal sin. I should have not expected better from somebody associated with you, but this is unacceptable. Really? He's sleeping with the Northumbrian king's daughter? Okay. I can do whatever it takes to make it right, so I can pay him money to make up for it. We're not going to pay the enemy, our enemy, money. We can plead for forgiveness. His opinion goes up. The mayor loses opinion of me, and I spend a bunch of renown. Interestingly, not renown, prestige. Interestingly, prestige and piety are currencies now that you spend for things and you earn. If you earn enough, you go up levels of fame, which are permanent, but the rest of it is just a stockpile that you spend, which is really interesting, and we'll run into more circumstances of spending it. Renown, which I mistakenly called prestige, similar thing, except for you spend it towards permanent perks to your entire dynasty, which hopefully we'll get into at some point. Yeah, we're going to congratulate Halfdan. Good work. We don't really mind that you're causing troubles with our neighbor. So we're going to move into fighting. See, look at this. We have way more troops, and we are likely to lose. Granted, we don't have a commander, which we should fix that. I'm actually going to merge these 2 armies together and then pick a commander. So this is always an interesting challenge. Commander skill. some of your martial prowess and your perks all add up, we're really good. We have 26. Could cause us to die. In this case, I think we need to be in command though, because we need to win this fight. Yeah, now we're probably gonna win because our commander isn't better or isn't terrible. Yeah, and here in the middle you can see the random row I was talking about, +1, +8, etc., etc. We are actually gonna put our kid in charge of this one, and our half brother in charge of this one. Now come siege this. Now, one of the other things I like, they've taken out a lot of the randomness, which is really nice. Because if you recall for like EU Fall or Imperator Rome, when you're sieging, it's like 30% chance to take, 40% chance to take. And sometimes you get really ridiculous. Like we're sitting at 60% chance to take. And for some reason, it's still not taking because your luck's just that bad. Now it's just a counter that goes up depending on things. You always get a base of 1. Because sickness is spreading, we get a bonus. It can go up because of all sorts of things. Siege equipment. You can get sappers with some people. We're going to take that. They are sieging down my capital, which is rude. So we're going to send my son over. He should have plenty of troops to win this fight. Plenty of people. Stop. Okay, there we go. This is our ally finally showing up to do something. Alright, nope. Come on back up here and take this. Nope, our ally's taking that. Take that. Step over and take this. Oh, he's being raided. And we're taking that. So we got these 3 going, which is great. Siege 1, prisoner taken. Oh yeah, and of course everything's about characters. When you take forts, you take prisoners. Or when you win battles, you take prisoners. Very fun. All sorts of things you can do with that. From just selling them for money, selling them for favors. Favors is a big thing in this game, which is kind of cool. And then finally, you can go down the really dark route if you take the right tree, and you can get into becoming a torturer, which is nicely horrific. Effective, but horrific in pretty much every way. And I think well, how close are we? Speed things up a little bit while we do this. Okay, so we're a little ways from winning this war. Not very far. It's kind of inevitable. I'll be very curious if we can keep our armies once we disband. Because if we can hang on to 5,000 troops, we can take over this island very quickly. It might actually be very easy. Well, other than kicking off the other Norse guy. That might be hard. We'll see. We'll see how that works. But thank you everyone for watching. I don't know how I'm going to fit this video into my schedule because I don't really want to give up either of the other 2 videos, but this game's new and exciting and I kind of want to share it with those of you watching my videos. So I think I might try and tack on an extra video a week so I can get this in, fit this in as well. I don't know how long I can maintain that because it's I've tried that before and it's hard to fit it into my schedule of a week, but I'm gonna give it a try, I think, and see how it goes. So thank you again for watching, and in the next episode we'll finish up this war.